Hey there, folks. Welcome to another episode of Local Film Talk. I'm your host, Bob Walters, and as always, we are here to bring you the latest in what's going on in the filmmaking community here in central North Carolina, the Raleigh-Durham, Chapel Hill area. We're coming up soon on SparkCon and Film Spark, where I'll be doing the live Local Film Talk episode on Sunday, September 20th at noon. So you guys should all come out and check that out. And we've also got a lot of other films that are going to be screening throughout SparkCon and Film Spark, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So definitely go to the website. We'll include the link in the show notes. And come on out and check out a lot of great films from a lot of people who are doing cool stuff in the area. So we are here with director Beverly Tan. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, glad to be here.
So you have submitted a film to Film Spark called The Last Line, which I've had a chance to see and really enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to whatever you're working on next. But let's start out with how you got into filmmaking, where you got into school, what first piqued your interest in the actual production side of filmmaking.
I have wanted to make movies longer than I can remember. The earliest memory was I've got photos of me with my dad's like little camcorder when I was like 7. I never knew what I wanted to do as a kid, except for I want to tell stories. I love telling stories and making movies. And I tried, and I didn't really get a chance to do it seriously. I was maybe middle school, high school. I was maybe like 14, and it's like I can do this for the rest of my life. I like doing this. So I was that girl that I went to film school, went to Western Carolina University for their motion picture, and now it's a film and television production program.
Up in Asheville, right?
Cullowhee, it's right by Asheville. But
Okay.
I hung out in Asheville a lot. I miss the food there so much. But, so I went to film school, and I realized I'm not good at really anything else in life besides filmmaking. All I can do is really tell stories. I worked as a photographer to pay my bills, and I wrote some poetry. I minored in creative writing with a focus in poetry. So
creative writing is good, something to be good at if you're going to be a filmmaker. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like telling stories anyway. I mean, I've been writing since I was a kid, just anywhere I could. None of it got published, but I just wrote for fun, and I enjoyed it. It was really nice. When I was a kid, I didn't really go outside or hang out with people or play video games. I wrote and came up with ideas and stories, and I could see how they would play out in my head, and I'd watch movies and I'd go, wow. Maybe I can do this. I can do this because I love it, and I realize I love film more than anything I've ever done. Like if there wasn't anything for filmmaking, I can't see myself doing anything else. Like, I have no option. I went into school going, I don't have a plan B. I just don't have one.
A lot of successful people do not have a plan B, and that can sometimes be helpful. That makes you try even harder.
Right? So I was like, no plan B, so I have to do this. I have to be good at this because I'm not even a good waitress anymore. Like, I can't even bartend. So I'm like, if I fail at this, then there is no other option. So I have to do this.
So while you're at Western, did you do any student films there?
Yeah, we did some student films. My senior thesis, I was UPM for 2 senior thesis films. So that was really interesting. I learned a lot from working on films. The way our program worked is pretty much we do a senior thesis film every semester, and it is just, there's some guidance from professors, but it is pretty much just the students doing this. We take care of the camera rentals, we take care of the casting, the script, every step of the process. And your freshmen, they're going to be your grips and PAs your freshman year. Then you come to your sophomores, they're going to be your key grips. Your juniors going to be like somebody's your script supervisor. They're going to help you on your electric team, your assistant cameras. But then when you're a senior, you're like the producer or the director or whatever cool job you get. So you kind of work your way up and learn a lot about different positions, which was really interesting. I think it's really important to know how a film crew works together.
Well, and it's good when you're when you're younger to do all those below the line positions and all the, I don't know if ancillary is the correct word, but all that other stuff. So when you finally do get to the point of being the director and being in charge of everything, you know what all those jobs are and how they're done, and it makes it a lot easier for you to, well, direct those people.
Yeah, like I want to be a producer, but I learned about editing. Am I a good editor? Not really. It's not exactly my best talent, but I know about it enough to know when something is not going well.
Right.
I know enough about camera to go, that's a good shot. But if you ask me to be a Steadicam operator, I will fail miserably.
Right. I mean, you got to find what you're good at. And that's, that's something that I've always kind of wondered. I didn't actually go to a film school, but everybody that I've talked to who has talks about how when you're an underclassman, you do all those other below the line positions on the older students' films. And then when you get to your senior level, you're writing, you're directing, producing, that kind of thing. And are you required, as your senior project, are you required to be the director of the film? Or if if you get to your senior year and realize, I want to be an editor, that's what I'm good at, can you just be the editor on a project?
That's kind of how it works. It's a senior project, so for a senior class, it gets divided in half because there's usually about 18 to 22 of us. They get accepted.
That's not a huge program.
Yeah, it's a nice small program. We're all really close, actually. It gets really interesting. So, your seniors, you've got someone, it gets divided into two projects based on the scripts, and then you've got a senior that's the director, someone that's the editor, and you really tailor to what you're good at, and you have to go into with the professors and pitch what you want to do, and they decide who the best person for the job is.
Okay. So you're not required to direct something, because I can imagine someone who's not good at it, knows they're not good at it, and isn't really interested in it, who is forced to direct a film, it could be a complete dumpster fire.
Exactly. It's not directing school, it's film school. So you kind of learn a lot of different aspects. Like, if you asked me to be an editor, I would not get an A.
Right.
You probably would not get an A. If you asked me to produce, I'd have a much better chance of getting an A.
So you graduated from Western Carolina, and then where did you go to?
Well,
what year was that?
I actually graduated last May.
Oh, okay.
2015. So yeah, I graduated last May. I work for UPTONE Pictures, and that was in a previous episode. So
now, at the time, they were in Asheville. So you graduated.
They were here. But,
they were still here in Raleigh. Okay.
Yeah, I met Jack through a network in Asheville, though. So a lot of us lived in Asheville. Jack and David and people that now work at UPTONE. A lot of us, David and I went to school together, and Jack had graduated from Western a couple years ago. So that's kind of how we knew each other. So we all just kind of slowly started taking a little exodus out here. And yeah, UPTONE's been in Wake Forest. Well, we were in North Raleigh when I first started, and we just moved to our brand shiny new studio in Wake Forest. So hey, all you filmmakers, if you need a studio space to rent out, we rent it out. We've got our beautiful infinity wall, green screen.
And we, I visited there not too long ago, did an episode on it, so people can check that out. I'll be sure to write that in the show notes to go and check out the visit to UPTONE Pictures. And they got a lot of cool projects coming out soon too. I definitely want to talk to you guys about Union Bound soon. I'm sorry, closer to that coming out. Do you guys have a release date for that yet?
I can't tell you.
Ah, okay.
But we are planning some big things for a theatrical release. So.
Cool. Keep me in mind when you're ready to talk about it.
Of course, I will.
So
there's social media and publicity stuff. So
you are the social media person. I'm sure you will get the word out.
Oh, yeah. Union Bound. Follow us on Twitter.
So let's talk about this film, The Last Line. It's a short film. Let me see. I got it pulled up right here. 6.5 minutes. Yeah, about 6.5 minutes. So pretty short. When did you do this? Was that after you moved to Raleigh to work at UPTONE, or were you still up at Western?
I was at Western. It was the summer before my senior year, actually. So
it wasn't a student project film.
It wasn't. I did it while I was a student, but it wasn't a student project.
Right. Okay.
So it's in this gray area of classification, I guess, because
you own it, not the school.
Yes, that's what it comes down to.
That's key.
Which helps a lot. But pretty much, I woke up one morning and said, think I'm going to make a film. So I did. I called up a buddy of mine, the DP, and I was like, you know, hey, look, I'm going to make a film. And you have a script? No, not yet. So took a couple days of thinking for an idea, exploring some concepts. Just kind of shut myself away from the world for 2 days, actually. Drank some whiskey out of teacups, sat on my back porch a lot with my cat. And
inspiration juice.
Pretty much, yeah. You have to drink the whiskey out of a teacup for it to work.
Okay, I got you.
By candlelight. That is how I like get my creative space.
That sounds very inspirational. That sounds like a very creative mood to be in.
Get that like zen to write. So, because I'm a poet too, so I was looking at some of my poetry work. I just finished a poetry class. It was maybe a week after school ended. I had my apartment, so I wasn't going anywhere. Or at least I wasn't planning on going anywhere. So I found the poem. I was like, I can adapt this. Let's go art house because I like artsy, slightly experimental, break the mold type of things. And I'm gonna do a short. Stylistically, I wanted to experiment, so I turned my poem and did some. Of course, did a good bit of editing to that poem because that was a first draft of the poem, and turned it into a 7-page script. And next thing I know, I'm subleasing my apartment and driving back here because I wanted to film it here.
Okay.
I went to high school in Holly Springs, so I had more connections here, more places, and I really didn't want to film here. My crew was here, a lot of people here, so that just kind of happened. Raleigh was just a bit of a better hub for finding talent and crew, so.
Right. It's a bigger area. You got a bigger pool to draw from.
Yeah, so worked out really well, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, that was going to be my first question was, sorry. Because your film is based around a poem, I was going to ask you if you wrote the script first or the idea for the concept of the film first, or if you wrote the poem first. And it sounds like even before you decided to make a film, you already had the poem, or at least a rough draft of the poem done.
It was a reject from something I was writing for my poetry class, actually. It was just sitting there in my reject file, and I just couldn't get it because there were a lot of visual elements in that poem that it wasn't clicking right. So, and then I came up with a better idea. I turned that in for my poetry final instead. So this is kind of sat there on my computer, and I had planned on working on it because I actually have an ebook coming out soon. That is independently
of poetry?
Yeah, poetry. It's called Water in a Wine Glass. Hopefully launching next month. It's like 3 months behind schedule because it's kind of just me.
Because writing, that's how the writing process works.
Because I just keep changing my mind on things. So
too much whiskey in a teacup.
Yeah.
At some point, it delays things.
I have a shirt that actually says whiskey in a teacup. It's a gift I got one day.
Oh, so you've got the idea for the film and it's all written and everything, but you decided to come down to the Triangle area to shoot it, rather than just pulling from your pool of fellow students up in Western. What?
It was summer. Everyone had gone home for the summer, so there wasn't really anyone there.
Okay.
There really was like no one there, and the people who were there were working pretty much full time to pay off their loans. So didn't really know anyone, and no one and honestly, my camera guy friend, I would not have been able to convince him to come out there. Oh,
Now, that's one thing I definitely have to give you a lot of props for, is that it's a really good-looking film, good sounding, very high production values. Tell us about some of the people you got to help you work on that, because you need really talented people to get that level of production. So tell us about some of the people you got to work on it.
First person I called was Henry Zero. He is actually living out in Utah now. Gonna miss him.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, he was the camera guy, DP, and pretty much convinced him because I let him have lots of control on the campfire scene, on the bonfire scene, which, hey, you saw, but maybe everyone else will see. Hopefully at Smart Gone. But he fell in love with that scene pretty much, and visually for his reel, because, well, we were a bunch of students. Well, they were students. I was a student. No one's getting paid. We got paid in beer.
Was it his idea to film so much of that scene in slow motion?
Yes, that was all him. I have to give him credit for that because it is beautiful. I think like at some point I approved it, and that was all I did for him. originally it was a beach scene, but production-wise, that was not gonna happen.
Well, then you got to take your crew all the way to the beach.
Exactly.
I mean, that's a logistical nightmare when you have no budget.
I did not. I wanted to be a beach bonfire. Did not have the money for it. I had a friend with a backyard and fire pit though, so that worked.
And it worked out great. I think it looks really good.
It worked because we filmed the some other scenes in that. All the bedroom scenes were in that house too, so it worked.
Okay, there you go.
That day we got to film like 4 scenes. It was great. And then Henry called in his buddy Tony Collins, who actually just moved to the Durham area recently. So if anyone needs an amazing gaffer to hire, give Tony a call. He's also a camera guy too, and he is absolutely amazing. The lighting on that, all incredible. I'm the crazy person that said at the bar, "Can we make this look like it's lit by candlelight?" Pretty sure that he thought I was insane.
Oh, Stanley Kubrick here, huh?
We went and bought about Catherine Mullaney, our production designer, really helped and brought us through that. We went and got like 50 tea lights and put one behind almost every bottle in the bar. Pulled out some Pinots, and it looks like candlelight.
So what bar is that you shot in?
It was a pizza restaurant, actually, an Italian restaurant called Tribute Pizza. They actually recently closed, which is sad because they had the best gluten-free crust I have ever tasted. And that makes me really sad because I moved back here and I was like, no, they're gone.
Yes, I can finally get that pizza whenever I want. No.
Yeah, pretty much. Those are my feelings. I was a waitress there that summer too.
Oh, so you had a connection, and that's that's another good lesson for people to take from this. Like you said, you wanted to shoot at the beach, that didn't work, but you had a friend who had a fire pit out back. You could also use that bedroom, and that's a really good lesson for people in using the resources you have available. When you're brainstorming and scripting and coming up with ideas, you're obviously going to have a lot of shoot for the moon ideas, but when it comes to actually shooting, you're really going to have to look around and see what's available to you. And you did a great job of doing that, because those are all really great locations you got.
Finding locations was one of the hardest things. To find the right, because I wanted them relatively close, because I only have a crew for so many days, because a lot of the filmmakers there are experienced people in the industry. They're working, they're taking gigs. I can only take them away from, and our rule was always, paid work comes first.
Right.
Paid work has, because bills got to get paid. This is something we just wanted to do because everyone just loved the script. They loved the story. They really wanted to do this project. But, if someone's going to offer you $3,000 for a day of cam mopping and $5K, I will not blame you for taking it.
Right. Absolutely. You got to go where the money is. So what did you find as far as getting the locations? Did you find a lot of places were pretty cooperative? Because whenever I've had to do something like this, sometimes it really is just as simple as asking. You'd be surprised how often people will say yes. Did you find it pretty easy to get locations?
Yeah, it was surprisingly easy because I used a lot of connections. It was my friend's house that we did the fire pit, and almost every interior scene was at that house. We filmed there for the entire day. We set it to a lot. The bar scene, we used the
pizza place. Now, were you working there then? Because you said you had waitress there. Was that at the same time?
Yeah, they had just opened, and if I came out here for the summer,
right?
Then I didn't have my job back there or any of my jobs. I was working as a photographer, so it's like I can pick up a waitressing job for just a little bit. Some spending money, production money. I was a college student. So
it's cool of your boss to let you use the place.
So waitressed and hosted trivia shows, and I still do that now because my buddy, I'm really good friends with my boss there, and actually he's the one who hooked me up with the coffee shop, Aversboro Coffee Shop in Gardner. He was friends with the owners there, and he is an actor. He does more stage stuff, so he just knew those guys, and he talked to them for me. So I went in there, scouted it, talked to them some more, and they were really cool about it. The stage scene was my childhood church, and the guy that actually played the agent, Jay Hill, he's awesome. He goes to church there, so he actually got to let us, and he does a lot of technical work there.
So that poetry reading was done in a church?
Yep, it was on the church stage. I did that church. I knew exactly what I wanted. One spotlight, I wanted one seat, and one microphone. That's all I needed. So, I called up my friend. I was like, hey, I need it for like an hour. And you know, they said, yeah, I'd gone there for years as a kid, so they knew me, and they were really thought it was really cool. You know, they read the script, made sure there was nothing, you know, against their morals in it. Yeah, which very clean film.
Yeah.
Actually.
Oh no, absolutely. I wouldn't say there's really anything controversial in there.
Very clean film. Yeah, drinking in it, but no underage drinking. So.
Right. Now, aside from the scene at the bar. It sounds like you had more of a run and gun style, not a whole lot of lighting setup and everything. Did you use a lot of natural light and everything? And how was your DP able to work with that?
It was actually a lot of lighting. I was really impressed.
Oh, okay.
I didn't. No, I was because I was the producer, writer, and director, and it was like an out of body experience because I wrote this poem based on like an actual breakup that I had. So it's based from my life, and I had to go with, this character isn't me, and she won't react the way Josie is not me, and she would react differently, but she's in the same situation I was in, and I direct an actress who's another different person, and Olivia did amazing with it. I'm really happy with it.
All your actors and actresses were really good.
Yeah, they're great.
I thought they hit all the notes really well.
Yeah, so that was interesting. And so I didn't really pay attention to the lighting, but there's this one scene at the dolly shot in the bedroom scene through the window, and Henry went to move the camera for a different angle. He goes, "Hey, Tony, can you move that light outside?" And I go, "There's a light outside? How?" He's like, "What do you think you're seeing?" I'm like, "That's the sun. That is totally the sun." He's like, "No, Bev, we're facing east, and it's 5 p.m.
Oh, wow, he was on the ball.
I did not believe it was a fake sun. I thought they were messing with me.
Now, what kind of camera did you shoot on, and who owned it?
A Red Epic. So we shot it all in 5K.
Nice.
Well, maybe a little bit of overkill, but there was a lot we could do with it. So.
And did it belong to your DPs, or did you rent it?
It belonged to Henry, the DP. I borrowed some lenses from some friends, and that was really cool.
Yeah.
And then my sound guy actually went to Western with me. I brought a lot of alumni, actually, Western alumni. I don't think I brought any Western current students were on board, because a lot of them live out like by Charlotte and not really in this area. But Lucas, who did the end credits, and he was an AC and a grip. He was one of my first friends when I went to college, and he graduated a year before me. The editor, David Bennett, he graduated a year before me. He works at UPTONE with me now, and that's actually one of how he connected with UPTONE. You know,
nice.
So we're looking for an editor. I was like, you've got to meet this guy. He's editing for me right now, and it worked out really well. So
it's all about who you know. So tell me a little bit about the editing process. Who edited it, and about how long did that take? David
Bennett, and it took really long just because we were living 5 hours apart from each other. It took me forever to get the footage. At the time of filming this project, I did not have an editor.
Okay.
So after we shot it, I was like, now I have to find an editor.
Damn, I knew I forgot something.
Like, I was looking for one, but I was so focused on locking down my locations and the casting and the crazy casting process that this went through, which that's another story I'll tell you soon. But editor was on the back. I was like, you know, as long as I have the footage, I can find an editor, I can do this. So I started like looking up people that I had gone to school with, and I stumbled across today. I was like, hey, so what have you been up to lately? Any projects? And he was just working at freelancing Ash. I was like, look, I've got a project. I could really use an editor. You're really great. It's fun. I hope you really love the story, and I guess he liked the story because he did it.
And by the way, please edit my film. You're so good.
Please, I will pay you in Chipotle and beer.
Hey, that works for a lot of people. That's a good payment system.
I never bought him Chipotle. I did meet him for Chipotle by for him, and I kind of feel bad about that now. But
well, it turned out really good. He did a great job of editing it.
He did a lot of work in the color, and I'm really proud of it. Like, I think I make ridiculous requests sometimes, and I realize it, because there was one scene, like the bar scene, it was yellow, it was street lights. I just go, I think it would be really cool if it looked blue. I think he had to put 27 effects on it to make it from yellow to blue.
I was going to say, when your shot is very yellow, the one thing that there's probably not much of in there is any blues.
He did it.
Wow.
He's magical, but he made it happen. And stylistically, he really helped with the stylistic process a lot too, about making, you know, the middle part, because it's got the two bookends, and she's sitting in a bar, and that's more of like a dull, warm, muted tone. But then when you go into the flashback sequence, it's this bright, vivid. I had him blow out some of like the reds a little bit, and some of the whites just a tiny bit.
Right. And so it sounds like you were pretty hands-on with the edit.
But as much as possible. I mean, we took a lot.
As much as you can be from 5 hours away.
Yeah. Well, with school, we would stop for a little bit, go back to editing, then we'd stop because, you know, school would get busy, work would get, and he had just started working at UPTONE, so we'd get busy. He'd go on a business trip. I'd have lots of homework. I'd have a big project due. So it took a really long time. We finished. He got the footage in August. We finished editing in like January.
Okay.
Or something.
Now, there's not a lot of audio in it. You know, like you said, it's mostly a flashback kind of thing, and then there's narration from the woman in the bar over the whole thing. Did you, since you're not seeing her for most of that narration, did you actually film that on set, or is that afterwards?
Actually, my really great friends at Lucid Reality Productions, who is a boutique production company in downtown Raleigh, they had a sound studio, so they did me a huge favor and let me bring my actress in and help me record her for like 7 takes, and it was awesome. So we took an hour or two down there, and it was really awesome and
cool.
The best. So it also helped me with a lot of my sound equipment. So.
Well, it's great that you're able to get all these really, really professional people working on your film, and it shows. It really benefits from it. So what are some, I guess we'll wrap up with what kind of lessons did you learn? Stuff you had no idea about ahead of time, but you learned through the process. And what advice would you give other people for making a film, especially their first one?
Well, you just got to do it. Don't sacrifice. Well, I'd say also, you can surprise yourself with how much help you get. So don't sacrifice. Don't use your random roommate to be your actor. You know, you can, if you ask and you have a story that's really worth telling, you ask the right people in the right way and try to help them, then you can really surprise yourself. And because I surprised myself because I wasn't sure I could get as great a crew as I did. Like I was really, I spent months, I spent like 3 months planning this. You know, I spent so much time on it. This was my baby, and you just got to do it. And don't ever say, I can't do it because I don't have any money. Don't sacrifice quality for lack of funds. Because the last line was sponsored by 3 breweries, pretty much.
Oh, you actually got sponsors. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, one of the reasons why I came back to film here is I had the whole hometown thing of, hey, I went to film school for 4 years. I just went to film school for 4 years. I'm a senior. I went to high school here. I lived in this town for a while, so I went to local companies going, look, I'm from here. I went away. I came back. Help me out. Yeah, let's make this a community. And I'm amazed at how much the community came together to like help someone that's just been here and like support each other. It's a really cool supportive community. So.
Right.
It made me really happy. You know, people were just so willing of like, cool, this is Raleigh, this is movies, it's gonna be awesome.
Well, that's cool. And it's nice to see all those people helping out. You know, I'm a big part of the film community here in the area, and we're always really surprised when like there's an article in the newspaper about somebody in the area who did a short film or a feature film, and the article has this tone of, believe it or not, somebody actually made a movie around here. And we're like, we're making movies all the time. You know, there's quite a few people here, some real professionals, you know, even outside of the production companies, of which there are a ton of around here. You know, there's a big filmmaking scene around here. And, you know, it's nice to see more people getting involved and doing bigger and more creative things.
I'm all about sharing the love, you know. I love helping other filmmakers, so if anyone needs any help that I can't help you with, you know, I'm not I don't own any camera equipment. I can't edit, but you know.
Well, I look forward to whatever your next film is. For the moment, you have The Last Line. Like I said, hopefully we'll be seeing that in about 2 weeks.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
It's
the
also
results are not in. But
27 other festivals. So
I was going to say, so I assume it's not available online. People can't go out and watch it right this minute.
Not yet. Ask me after festival season, especially if I get a lot of rejection letters. It will be online.
Right.
Or a lot of acceptance letters, depending on how you look at it.
So you said you submitted to 27 festivals?
So far.
Wow. Okay.
More still opening, so you know.
Like you said, you know, go out, do it. You'd be surprised, you know, like as with actually making the film, you're surprised how many people are willing to help you out. You know, just submit to festivals. You'll be surprised how much stuff you get into, and you know, maybe if you're lucky, even win a few awards. So, best of luck to you for sure.
I've got a product that I've got a film that I'm really proud I made. So proud of it. I mean, ask me in 10 years if I still am proud of it, but 22 years old. I will go on record saying I am very proud of what I did. I'm so happy. My crew is absolutely amazing. Like, and a lot of us are new to this area too.
Right.
Or like, have recently moved to Raleigh, to the Raleigh area. So hey, if you need a good crew member, give me a call.
And of course, we'll put your Twitter account in the show notes and all that stuff too. Check the show notes, people. I put stuff there, links for you to click on and everything.
Yay, links.
Yep. Well, thank you for taking the time to chat with us. You know, like I said, I really like your film. I'm excited for other people to see it. Best of luck on the festival circuit. And, you know, like I said, keep us abreast of whatever you're working on next, other stuff you're promoting, what you guys over at UPTONE are up to. And, yeah, just keep in touch because I'm really excited to see what you're working on.
I'm always on social media. I'm always in touch with anyone who wants to be in touch.
Nice. All right. Well, thanks for chatting with us. And as always, everybody, this has been Local Film Talk. You can follow us on Twitter at Local Film Talk. Go to the YouTube channel, like the video, subscribe, yada, yada, all that good stuff. But this has been our chat with Beverly Tan, very generously sharing her time with us and hopefully moving on to bigger, better things quickly. And we will be back hopefully next week. Not sure exactly who we're talking to, but it should be fun. And 2 weeks from now, if you're listening to this shortly after it's released, we will be doing our live episode on September 20th at noon at the Museum of History in downtown Raleigh. Live local film talk. Should be exciting. So thank you again for joining us, Beverly. And we will. Thanks again, and we'll see you guys next week.